Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Ryal Thomas. This evening, the title of the show is titled Excuses. I'm going to get right into this because I have so much I want to say, and I also would like to take this time and also say, if you like what you're hearing, please share this, because a lot of people are making excuses for things that may be slowing them down or hindering them in achieving everything that they can possibly achieve while traveling through this journey called life. You know, and I'm not going to sit up here and act like I haven't made excuses, because I have. I've made a lot of excuses for not doing some of the things that I should be doing or that I needed to do in order to push myself in a position that I've always wanted to be in. But that takes determination, that takes willpower, that takes a lot. And sometimes we don't recognize the excuses that we are making, because when we make excuses, it kind of justifies why we don't want to do the things that we need to do in order to accomplish some of the things that we need to accomplish. So I'm going to get into this, and I'm going to talk about it in a manner in which it probably will land on your doorstep, because it has definitely landed on mine in the past, and it still lands on my doorstep presently, because sometimes we're faced to do things and we're just not in the mood, we're just not motivated, and we just do not have the will or the determination to do some of the things because of it may be the way we're feeling at the moment. It may be because we looked at the outcome in a very negative manner. And see, all of those situations and all of those things I just mentioned is very comforting. See, it's very comforting to the soul, very comforting to the spirit to not get up and do something. But I want to tell you that you must look at what you want to do for your life. You must look at where you want to go. And it actually takes an effort. It's an effort. And when you think about all the time that you spend doing other things that are not very profitable for the advancement of your life, and when you look at that realistically, you can sit back and say or think to yourself, whoa, what am I actually doing? You know, what am I actually saying? You may want to work out. You may have an idea, or you may be planning to go to the gym and do some things, and you feel that maybe, okay, I'm going to start, working out tomorrow. I'm going to start working out next week. You know, you may have that in your mind, but all of a sudden a friend may call and say, hey, let's go out and grab something to eat. Or let's go see this movie this evening. And I'm not here to tell you that you shouldn't be enjoying yourself, because you should. But when you have set certain priorities for yourself, you need to kind of like stick to them. And the starting point is the hardest point. See, once you start and get it in your mind and get it in a routine that you're actually doing something to help you as an individual, see, it will continue, because you start to feel good about being true to yourself. You start to feeling good about just maybe physically watching you get your body back in shape. See, you start to feel good about that, and nothing or no one should come in between how you want to see yourself or how you need to feel for you to accomplish some of the things that you need to accomplish. Stop making the excuses. It has taken me a long time, because sometimes I battle with that. It's so many things that I want to do, or so many things I think that I'm going to do, and something can come up and I'll be like, oh man, I don't even feel like doing it this evening. But yet, I will do something that requires more of an effort because it sounds comforting. And actually, it may even be comforting. But when I look at the end results and say to myself, now what did I really do just now? Did I do anything to move me closer to my dreams or move me closer to my goals that I have set for myself? You have to stop. We have to stop doing that. You know, you may be in a situation right now, or you may have an idea, something that you want to invent, something that you want to go over with someone and say, hey, what do you think about this? But you don't even take the time to do it. You don't even take the time to do it. You know, you may have something you want to write. You may have something you want to discuss. But it's not suitable for you to do it at the moment. But when you think about it, it is suitable because that's what you want to do. We make excuses for the comfort of where we are in life. And the next thing you know, weeks go by, months go by, years go by, and then you start to think to yourself, man, you know, a year ago, I had this plan. I had this idea. What is taking me off track? See, it may be people. It may just simply be people. But when you start to think about your life and your happiness, how are you going to allow someone else's plan to become your plan when someone else's plan doesn't benefit you? See, we have to recognize that so many times we get confused about what direction we are heading in. And that's why it's best to sit down and talk with individuals, and let me just be candid with this, who are not lazy, who may have strong will, so they can encourage you what to do. When you are sitting around talking to people and they're sitting around and they're saying, oh, well, why don't we worry about that tomorrow? Or let's do that next week. Or don't worry about that right now. No, 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 no. See, those individuals, you already feel like you don't want to do it. You already know that, well, if I just had something else to do, I wouldn't do it. And they're encouraging you not to do it. And then you look at yourself next week and you say, darn, something else has come up. Then you look at yourself next month, darn, something else has come up, and you never even attempt to do what you needed to do. And I'm going to touch on some things that may be a little sensitive, but I'm sorry if they are, but it's the reality. It's the reality of what goes on in our minds. Because for the most, then please understand me on this, we actually want things to come to us without an effort, for the most. You know, a lot of us talk a good game. A lot of us can speak extremely well to where we think we should be, but we don't want to put the work in. You know, that's for the most. We don't want to put the work in. That's why, if you don't have, I'm going to move into something else, you need to have a positive partner. You know, a positive partner who can encourage you, especially if you have good ideas and you have good things that are going for you. You know, you don't want to so much mingle and mangle around with individuals that do not have strong determination for themselves or for you. Because for the most, we want things to come to us. We want to talk about certain things, but we don't want to really move and do any physical work to bring those things about. sometimes people, may apply for a job and, and they go in to the interview with a chip on their shoulder. And all they need is just something extremely small to give confirmation as to why they may not have received the position. Or that's all they need. That's all we need sometimes, because we're already going in there with a negative attitude for the most. Or maybe we're going in there with a good attitude. And all of a sudden you're wondering why you didn't get the position. They didn't hire you. And you come out explaining to your friends or explaining to your loved ones or your family members, well, the reason they didn't hire me because of this. And whatever that or this is, only you know that. Never looking at the fact that you may not even be qualified. Maybe you're qualified in some areas. That's the reason you applied. But maybe they're looking for you to have just a little bit more experience in this particular area. Making excuses, not realizing what you need to do in order to make you a winner. And the first thing we need to do, and when I say we, I'm talking about all people. Don't misunderstand the message. I'm talking about all people, all color, all sizes. That's just the way it is. We all can look at things and find a reason why that something didn't go our way just to justify how we feel, when it has nothing to do with the feeling that you have. It has everything to do with your determination, your will, or whatever the case may be. Not saying that some cases are not because of a certain thing, because that very well could be it. But for the most, it's something going on. And I will get on this subject a little bit and just hit it and get off of it. But, it's time for us to stop thinking that we're going to get 40 acres and a mule, because that's not going to happen. Let's just realize that. That's not going to happen. No one is going to give you 40 acres and a mule, regardless of what was promised to you. Not saying it's right or wrong. It's not going to happen. No food is going to fall out the sky. Nothing is going to happen until you make it happen. I don't care how you look at that. You can pull it up, you can throw it around, you can roll it around, you can do anything you want until you, as an individual, get up off your butt and say, I'm going to take control of my life starting today. You can't keep sitting around making excuses for your condition or your position. Because if you're not doing nothing about it, no one is going to do anything about it for you. And I'm going to move into another subject. It may be within a relationship. You may be involved with someone, and if you love that person, first and foremost, always try to motivate that person, always try to stimulate that person, always try to talk to that person, let them know how much you do love them. But if you see that your partner is not contributing to his or her goals, or your goals, and you're not contributing to theirs, stop making excuses and say, well, I'm going to give it a little bit more time. I'm going to see. Yes, give it some time, but if the time that you are giving it, it goes into months, then it goes into years, and you guys are in the same position, and matter of fact, maybe the position is worse now. See, you're making excuses. You're making excuses for why you are not moving ahead. And if you have ideas and you have things, stop making excuses for yourself, and definitely do not make excuses for other people. Because when this comes to the forefront and things happen that maybe happen not in your favor, you may be sitting around and years have gone by and you've wasted your time on waiting. waiting on something or waiting on someone to change. Anyone could change. But if people or someone that you are involved with and they constantly talk about change and change is never coming and you don't see change coming, and the next thing you know, your accounts are going down and the car's been wrecked, I have to go over here and do this. How many signs do you need before you realize that you need to stop making excuses and move on with your life? See, excuses can be so comforting. They can be so comforting to us. People say all the time, well, I hear a lot about people saying that, hey, you know, God's going to send me someone, or God's going to take care of this for me. Now, first and foremost, I know there is a God, but I also know that God has given us the precious gift of life. And I also know that God has given us the precious gift of thinking, of being able to have free will to think and to do and to see things the way that they should be seen. But no one, there's not going to be a letter coming through the mail if you haven't applied for a job to say, okay, hey, Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, you have a job. Just want to reach out and tell you that. Or no one is going to knock on the door and say, hey, I'm your soulmate. That's not going to happen. And if you're traveling in the same old area, in the same old places, and think that, hey, it's no one here for me, maybe you need to stop traveling in the same old circle, in the same old places. Maybe you need to travel in different areas, different places. I don't fish at the same pond every time I go fishing. You know, if the pond over here is not doing too well, I may call up someone and say, hey, you mind if I come by and fish at your pond this evening? Because it may be different fish in the pond. It may be different food that's falling out of the trees, or worms coming in off the bank after a rainstorm or something. See, you have to understand that we cannot make excuses and say you are just waiting on the Lord to send you someone, or to send you a job, or to send you some money, or to change your position. What changes your position in life is you. That's what changes your position in life. It's you. It has nothing to do with waiting on someone. You can sit in your house and you can say, well, you may not have anything to eat. Well, I'm just waiting on someone to bring me some food. You'll starve to death. You'll starve. Unless you actively get up and do something about getting some food. Unless you actively get up and do something about getting a job. Unless you actively get up and do something about bringing someone in your life that's going to be a positive influence for the future. See, the Lord has given us this. See, he doesn't need to come in and give us what he's already given us twice, because the rule book has been laid down. Rules and regulations have already been put down in front of you. And if you are not following them correctly, who is there to blame? This is what I'm trying to tell you, that we need to stop making excuses for our position, for where we are today. If you're not comfortable with your position, stop looking at the world Stop looking at society. Stop looking at what's going on in your town, in your city. Yes, be concerned about it. And if you can help bring about change in a positive manner, then do so. But if you're looking at you as an individual and you're getting down on yourself and you're saying, Lord, I hate to go to work tomorrow, or I don't want to deal with this, well, maybe you have created some things at your job, and yet you're blaming it on 10 other people that are, maybe they may not even know you exist. Have you ever thought about maybe that we do not apply ourselves in a positive manner because we're just lazy? We're just looking for something to come our way without even putting an effort out there? Do we ever think about that? See, first thing we have to realize is that we need to be real with ourselves. We need to understand that we are human. We need to understand that things touch us too. But see, in understanding that, in realizing that that exists, if you're that smart to realize it, don't show your ignorance by not doing anything about it. It's ridiculous. I'm going to realize that my tire on my car is flat. And I'm just going to look at it and stare at it instead of moving in the direction to change the tire. I don't understand it. You realize what the problem is, but yet you don't move in the direction to correct the problem. Is there a word for that? Is the word just someone being lazy? Have we moved to a point where we don't even want to help ourselves? Has the world moved you mentally where you're looking at all the wrong that's in the world and not recognizing the wrong in you? Wow. That's sad. And I think, and like I said in the beginning, I think we all have done this at one point in time. But I'm here to say this evening that we need to correct it. You know, and I know it's hard. I know it's hard. Sometimes it requires us thinking and understanding, and sometimes it hits us right at the moment. Wow, I cannot blame my condition or position on anyone but myself. I'm supposed to study for 3 hours, but I'm just studying for 30 minutes. And then I'm getting ready to take a test, and I fail. And I blame it on the questions that the professor was asking me. I blame it on the way the test was designed. I never looked at the fact that I didn't study long enough. I never looked at that because that's too much of blaming myself. And we as individuals, the last thing, the last person we want to blame is us. We'll blame a whole group of people before we take fault in ourselves and realize that we need to make a change. We need to stop making the excuses. We need to stop justifying certain things and procrastinating on things that we know that we can take care of to move us in the right direction. Life is too short. But as long as we sit and wait for someone to make a difference in our life, you'll never be happy. You'll never fulfill your dreams. You have to do what's in the best interest of you when you're trying to get ahead in life. And getting ahead in life, first and foremost, means to be happy, means to feel joy, means to feel love. See, when you have all of these things within your soul and within your spirit, other feelings and other thoughts are being released in your mind. But as long as there's negative things going on and complications in your life, how can you find gold without a shovel? How can you do anything without the proper equipment that's needed in order to find joy and happiness? So stop making excuses. We need to stop making excuses. We need to look at the reality of happiness. So take a look around you tonight and be real with yourself and see what's holding you back from being happy. Think about the excuses that you have made to keep you in the position that you're presently in. These things and this movement of happiness, it's all about you. It's all about you. You can blame any and everything on everybody. You can say things to comfort you, make you feel that it's not my fault. But then when you look at the reality, it is your fault. Because you don't have to live like this, and you don't have to feel like this. Stop making excuses and get up and live. Thank you very much. This has been Ryal Thomas. Love you and see you next week.